imagine being transformed into a character so iconic, so recognizable, that your very appearance screams a classic story? But what if that transformation came at a cost, twisting your own desires and leading you down a path of anger and resentment? That's precisely the journey Ethan Slater's character, Bach, undertakes in Wicked for Good, and it's a wild ride. His transformation is arguably one of the most significant in the entire film. While Elphaba and Glinda are known for their big character arcs in the Wicked story, don't underestimate Bach's journey. In this second film, we find him trapped in servitude to Nessarose, Elphaba's sister, who has become the governor of Munchkinland. Bach, desperate to escape her control, faces a dire consequence when Nessarose tries to magically bind him to her. Elphaba, in a desperate attempt to help, resorts to the only solution she knows, turning him into the Tin Man. The process of turning Ethan Slater into this beloved Wizard of Oz character was a massive undertaking. It took nearly 5 hours in the makeup chair, a testament to the incredible collaboration between the makeup, prosthetics, and costume teams. Think about it. The silver elements you see around Nessarose's office actually become part of his armor. But here's where it gets controversial. Makeup designer Francis Hannon emphasized that the goal was to allow Bulk's essence to still shine through, leaving his face somewhat exposed so he could convey the intense emotions of the role. Slater himself found that the feeling of being both trapped and still seeing himself in the costume deeply informed his performance. He described shooting the transformation scene as his dream day. He enthusiastically embraced the physicality of the role. We would be in the room, and we said, "This is going to become this part of you." So I would fall into it. There's a moment where my hand hits the desk, and the thimbles and the pieces of what's on her desk sort of attach to my hand. And I got to fall into those things, Slater explained. I love falling. I fall for a living. And so it was pretty fun to do that, and to know what was going to happen. He relished the chance to physically embody the change, literally falling into the transformation. The film builds up to the Tin Man's dramatic reveal, a scene where he bursts through Nessarose's office door with an axe. And this is the part most people miss. This imagery is a direct homage to Jack Nicholson's iconic "Here's Johnny" scene in The Shining. Somewhere, there's a take of me doing exactly that. I feel like that was deemed a little on the nose, Slater revealed. But the transformation doesn't end there. Bach, now the Tin Man, turns against Elphaba, even leading a mob of Ozians in the chilling March of the Witch Hunters. Before filming even began, Slater had a crucial conversation with director John M. Chu discussing Bach's complex character arc. Slater notes that it's unfortunately relatable, highlighting how resentment and loneliness can fester into anger. It's critical to remember that Bach starts from a place of good intentions. It's a tragic arc. It's somebody who's looking for his place in the world and feels like he found it in these little moments in that first movie, right? And it's sort of misdirected in a way. From his passion for Glinda, he ends up like forming this bond in this relationship with Nessa. And then once we get to the second movie, we see how those things start to crumble, and the insecurities and the feeling of being trapped in a place where you don't recognize yourself anymore turns you into something you didn't realize you could become, Slater poignantly explains. Filming the March of the Witch Hunters scene was intensely unsettling for Slater, surrounded by a horde of actors wielding real flames and chanting violent threats. Sound mixer Simon Hayes amplified the tension by placing subwoofers on set, creating a pounding, techno-like rhythm. He then instructed the background actors, many of whom weren't singers, to belt out their raw emotions along with the beat. This visceral layer was later enhanced with professional chorus singers in post-production, creating a truly terrifying and immersive experience. Amidst the chaos of the March of the Witch Hunters, Bach glances up at Glinda, who's observing the scene from a balcony. It's ambiguous whether he truly sees her or not. This is Slater's favorite moment in the film. I do think that Bach looks up because he knows that she's there. She famously lives there. But instead of being able to see her, or being able to remember this friend of his who he was deeply in love with, he's still so fueled by his anger that all he can see is the torches in the way, Slater said. The anger and resentment have blinded him, obscuring his past affections and friendships. What do you think of Bach's transformation? Is it a tragic tale of lost potential, or a cautionary story about the dangers of resentment? Do you believe he truly sees Glinda in that pivotal moment? Share your thoughts in the comments below.